It's warm out. I'm happy. 75 fucking degrees and that thing is loud as shit. Yeah, the old girl's running right now. I'm super happy. I'm sorry for the loud noises, guys. I'm about to take the car for a drive here real quick. Trying to catch up on a few things. I haven't done like a Q&A. Haven't really talked to you guys a whole lot because I've been trying to do other random videos. I just had a ton of fun at Motorama, but let's talk about some other things here real quick. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, I love driving this thing. There's nothing better driving this car when it's nice and warm out like this, and I can rip on it like there's no other day. Well guys, as you can probably tell, it's already getting kind of dark out and I can't really see a whole lot. What I mean by that is on camera, it's starting to get too dark again already. Kind of sucks. I really wanted to get out and get some video outside the car, show you guys a couple things, but it's kind of life, I guess. I hate that I get off work so early, so it kind of is what it is. But at least I got to drive the car some. One thing I noticed though, is I think I did mess up my electrical lines to the MAC valve. I let them loose when I turned the car on the first time and the wires were bouncing around by the fan and it looked like they're a little cut up but nothing too severe. Well, whatever I did, I think screwed it up because I'm not getting any boost. What I mean by that is I'm not getting the max boost I should be getting. It's opening the wastegate at spring pressure, which is 8 PSI instead of 18. So yeah, I need to get home and look into that. All right guys, so I got back to the house here. Couple things right off the bat. Number one, I really need to clean my garage. This is what happens when you look north. That's like salt crud. That's the shit that gets in our cars, and that's what people talk about when they say, why do cars rust so fast? That's how bad it is. It literally clumps up on the car and it just eats away at everything. That's why you can't drive this time of the year. Luckily, it rained the last 2 days here, so I was able to get the Supra out and I was able to do something for a change. But the real reason is I came home is I had to pop the hood. Is you can see here, this is my MAC valve. The line that runs right here, it's got a little bit of damage right there. And it looks like the line is okay. Maybe somewhere in the actual rubber lines here, it's melting. There's only a couple lines and they're very short, so I'm gonna take a look at that. But while I'm doing that, I also need to take the intake off. The reason for that is I'm still unsure. Let me turn this real quick. I'm still unsure if the turbo is fully rebuilt or if it's leaking oil. I don't know 100%, so I'm gonna go ahead and take the intake off here real quick and hope that everything is okay. Sweet. Looks good to me. Looks good to me, guys. I just took off the intake there and there's no oil in the turbo, so that's a good sign. The only other thing I need to do yet is go through all the wiring and see why it's not building full boost like it was before. So I'm gonna have to dig out the wiring diagram and make sure there's only 2 wires that go to a MAC valve, but I'm gonna pull the sheathing off and make sure there's nothing touching or anything. It has some sheathing over it that's kind of butchered, so I might go through it and double check everything just to be safe. Oh, one other thing, guys, I don't have it physically in my hand, but maybe I can show a picture like right here. I do have Pure Function decals now live on the website. Also have new hats and shirts coming real soon. I just saw my one buddy Keenan. He just bought some right off the bat. He is, dude, you're awesome. I know you always watch my videos. I know you're up in Japan right now, living the life with an R34 and an awesome Supra. So, dude, thank you very much for your support. He always buys 2 of everything, which most people never buy 2 of everything, so it's pretty cool that he does that too. So thank you guys for the support. When you buy stuff from that site, unlike YouTube that really does support this channel, merchandise is where you can really make some money and I can buy parts for the cars. That's really where you make money, as YouTube's pretty much killed all money for me for the most part. I really can't really make anything anymore. So when you guys buy something, that pretty much enables me to buy stuff for the cars and piss off my wife a little bit more. All right, guys, so I'm taking off this side piece right now. One issue I have, the one inside bolt, yeah, I snapped it off. I mean, it's completely corroded, as you can see here. She's junk, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna do about that, but there's 2 more that hold it in inside, which aren't corroded, so that should be enough to hold it on, but that's not gonna work. That's gonna be, yeah. I'll have to figure something out. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do there. But I need to get in the trunk now, and if I get my light, there's two in there that are holding the rest on. So might end up replacing this one altogether too. I might need you guys' help on that one to replace that. I need to get it off because I'm going to use it to paint match these guys. Even if I wasn't going to paint match, I would have to remove all the trim altogether because I want to paint it all white. So learning from this that I'm going to replace everything with stainless steel washers and nuts after this to make sure this doesn't seize up again. All right, so I've got the rear, I guess, trim piece off, the silver piece here, and I've got my two new, I guess these are late model, I guess these are late model version, or I'm not sure if they're just JDM pieces, but they eliminate the entire side marker that's usually here, because on the JDM cars, they're back here on the fender, and I just don't like them. I prefer a solid piece over a blinker light there. So I want them paint matched to the silver, just because I didn't want to paint all the white trim. So this should make it a little bit, I want to keep it like a factory-ish color. This should help a little bit. I want to keep it that turbo model look, because any turbo model should have the silver trim on the side for a white car. I'm not sure if other models have that or not, but I kind of like it. It's starting to really grow on me. Maybe the white will look good down the road. Maybe once I put like a Gretty side skirt on and like a Gretty front lip. I think it might look okay, but for now, I think this should suffice. All right, so let's go ahead and cut over to the real reason you guys came here today from the title of this video. You know, is it worth it to swap a Supra, or is it worth to swap a twin turbo motor over into your Mark IV Supra, or is it worth the time and hassle? Me personally, that's the route I went down. I'm gonna kind of explain why I went down that route. Number one, the biggest reason being parts availability, and that's like big numero uno. When you're coming down to buy parts for this car right here, the GTE motor versus the GE motor, there is literally 10 times the amount of manifolds, parts, cams, all that stuff that goes for the head mostly is readily available. Now, another little thing I'm going to go ahead and tell you here, the GE bottom end and the GTE bottom end are pretty much the same thing down to the rods, except for the piston heads. Okay, so the piston heads itself, and the fact that the GE block does not, I repeat, does not have oil squirters in it like a GTE block does. You're probably wondering, well, what the hell are oil squirters? They're designed to actually give a cooling system for the bottom of the piston. I would have to actually show you a video on it. I wish I could actually have a cutaway for you guys on this, but it actually gives cooling to the bottom of the piston itself, and it's something for the stock piston. A lot of guys end up blocking it off when they go to big power because aftermarket pistons aren't designed to use them, but that's just something you could have. There's, if you want to keep them, great. If you don't, no big deal. But there's some of the differences right there. The biggest being, well, getting parts, and for me, manifold choices, cam choices, a lot of choices are way better. Intake manifolds are way better for a GTE versus a GE. Number two, making a ton of power right off the bat. A GE, you can put a thicker head gasket on it and squeeze 500, 550, but it's a ticking time bomb in my opinion, where a stock, 100% stock, unopened motor can make 800 wheel horsepower, 600 foot-pounds of torque all day long, every day, and never flinch. You cannot do that with the GE motor. Modifications need to happen. You need to change out, realistically, the piston heads to a lower compression piston. There's more headache involved with the GE. And another big thing with this is, and we'll get to number three here, being the fact coil packs versus a rotary cap. So a GE uses rotary style unless you have a later version like an IS300, which is variable valve timing. They actually have coil packs. But the early versions, which came in the Mark IV Supras, were rotary, and they sucked. You can't make a bunch of power on them. They weren't designed properly. It's not like the 3JZ-GTE, which had a cap and rotor, which actually you could make a ton with. The one on the GE motor for the Supra was junk. It's been terrible from day one. Even my buddy Matt, who has it, is running a really tight plug gap right now because of the fact that he just doesn't get enough spark and he gets spark blowout constantly. So that's another big reason. You know, having stock coil packs on these cars are plenty powerful enough too. Don't let anyone ever talk you into saying, oh, you have to go to these boosters, you have to do this, that, the other. Ends up being BS. If you upgrade the wiring itself and go to a thicker wiring from the igniter itself, you can actually make 1200 wheel horsepower on a stock igniter in stock coils. I'm not lying. I'm not making this up. It has been proven. Do your research. Do some due diligence. Yes, you can make 1200 wheel horsepower on a typer. You're going to be running a tighter plug gap, but it absolutely can be done. Which, how simplistic is that? You upgrade the wiring when you're already doing everything else. Might as well run a thicker wiring from them to the plugs, to the coil packs itself, and just make your life easier. So that's another big thing for me, and big difference. And to me, it's a night and day difference. Next, and this is kind of a little bit different, and it might be for some people or not, but resale value. If you're looking to sell a car that's an NAT versus a swapped car, right off the bat, they don't sell as much as, say, a true TT car, but a car that's been properly swapped with a twin turbo motor versus a NAT GE motor, 9 times out of 10, the TT motor car is going to sell more and has better residual value. So that's another thing you need to look at. If you're not planning on keeping it for the long haul, or if you would ever somewhere down the line think that you're going to sell the car, a TT motor all day, 90% of the time, is going to sell way more than an NAT car is, as they just 9 times out of 10 hold better power. You don't have the issues. Someone that has an NA car did the NAT route, normally, I don't want to down talk to anybody, normally didn't have the cash flow to do it properly from the start. So there's usually things that are corners that are cut, issues that are made. That's not true for everyone. There is much nicer NAT cars out there than my car, but for the most part, people that go NAT because the fact that they didn't have the cash flow at that moment in time. So that's something to really think about. For me personally, I went the GT route from the start just to be, well, easier to make power and to do everything right. So that's something you guys need to think about when selling the car. GTE is going to sell better all day long versus a GE motor with an NAT setup. So guys, that's just my opinion on it. That's where I see it. So for my super personal, like I said again, guys, I went with the GTE route here, which I'll show you here real quick. So as you guys saw earlier in the video, and I've already discussed this a couple times now, I did go with the GTE route. I personally just think it's much easier. One, it's cleaner. Just everything about it just seems like a much easier route to go on the long haul. NAT up front seemed like the right route, mostly for the fact that you already have a motor. You do have to kind of spend twice. But being honest, I was able to sell the NA motor for a good chunk of change. I didn't really have to, try to pester someone or try to get rid of it. You're selling the wiring harness, you're selling a lot of stuff with it. And for me, I was able to get the motor for like $1,700, a TT motor with a single setup on it years ago. I ended up making money by selling an NA motor, harness, trans and everything. So it actually benefited me to go to a twin turbo setup. I actually made money off the deal. So it was smart for me, might not be smart for others. The market has changed some since then, but at the end of the day, having a TT motor is nice, and when you pull up to the show, it definitely shows. One thing you guys I recommend too, if you're going to do it, change out the fan setup. Like I went with a true TT fan setup. Make sure you have all the proper cooling done. Make sure all the wiring is correct. It is slightly different on these cars. Like I said, these are cool pack cars versus a rotor and cap on the GE. So just make sure you do your due diligence. All right, guys, thank you very much for, as usual, chiming in. I'm always looking forward to talking to you guys. I always look forward to making these videos. Here lately, it seems like my videos are dead. I'm getting less than 1,000 views anymore with 25,000 subscribers, so I'm not sure if the channel is quite dead yet. I'm going to keep pushing for a little while here. If I don't see anything changing, then we'll have to figure it out, but I'm going to keep pushing because I actually do enjoy making these, and most of you seem like you enjoy it. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Was this helpful for you? Does it give you a better understanding of which way to go versus NA versus an NAT versus going to a TT route? Let me know down in the comments below. If you guys can do me a big favor, go down below also and check out the Facebook and Instagram. I'm always posting stuff way ahead of time. Also, go check out the merchandise. Like I said, I have new decals on their way. I also have new shirts and hoodies coming too. Thank you guys very much, and I'll talk to you later. Peace!